there,
That's right.
people.
How you doing, everybody out there on Sunday night? We are wearing matching hats, partly because we both sponsor this dope thing, and partly because it's a tag team match tonight, and I figure we should probably
That's
dress
it.
alike.
I was gonna wear our matching singlets, but uh,
I'm,
I didn't know if anyone would want to see it or not.
okay, my doublet comes down a little lower than it should, so
Yeah.
yeah, definitely more of a Booger Bastion thing going
Oh
on.
man, it's so funny you bring up Booger Bastion because I just watched him wrestle Marty Jannetty
Oh
uh,
wow,
on
where?
some like there's this Roku channel and it's just called Wrestling.
Uh huh.
And like you press the button and you have literally no idea what match or what promo is going to be on. One time I turned it on and Larry Zabisco had a samurai sword. He was like cutting this promo, had a samurai sword, and he like cut a pineapple in half.
Oh
I was
wow.
like, this is bananas. But randomly, I just sometimes like maybe once or twice a week, I'll hit the wrestling button just to see what it comes up with.
Oh, that's
And
great.
it was Marty Jannetty versus Bastion Booger, and they put Bastion over. I was like, man, poor Marty Jannetty. This fucking
Wow.
dude. It
That's what he
was,
gets for not changing his music after he gets kicked through the barber shop.
yeah, it was sad. I was just like, oh man, they put Bastion Booger, rest in peace, Bastion Booger. But
That is awful. It did you know Bastion
he,
came in as Norman the Lunatic later on in WCW?
I think I did know that.
Yeah.
The thing is weird about Bastion Booger is that this was probably like a Raw episode from 1994,
Oh
and
yeah.
and he looked like he was going to die tomorrow that day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I remember like two things about I mean several things, but one, he would bring he would bring potato chips to the ring and make sure
Okay,
they were all over his chest.
that's so gross.
And number two, he wore the grossest gray trunks, and like sometimes he'd have like these suspenders that went across, and other times he wouldn't. And it was like, it's like,
Sometimes he would, but other times that wasn't in the picture.
it reminded me of the Don Morocco gimmick for a little while because Don would come out eating a sandwich. He was so talented that he could get over on anybody eating a sandwich kind of thing.
Right.
And then
Uh,
later on, Big Show with the smoking a cigarette.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I always liked Don Morocco. He's a guy that a lot of people don't know that Don Morocco in the early days of the ECW, Don Morocco was their champ. He
Yeah,
was he was their world champ. He was feuding with Jimmy Snuka
that's
over
right.
the ECW world title.
That's right. It was back when it was
Uh,
Eastern, right? Not just
yeah,
yeah.
Eastern Championship Wrestling.
Yep.
Heyman was still the guy, but it was
Yeah.
yeah, it was very odd.
Don Morocco, I remember he left WWF in like '92 or something like that. And I remember because I used to read PWI because I lived in
Same.
Florida, or I'd just come back from Florida at the time. And they talked about how Don Morocco had a resurgence in his career going to Stampede, and that was the first time I'd ever heard about Stampede.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I think I PWI, even though it was so kayfabe,
Hmm.
it was still like I would get it every month religiously, and I also got Inside Wrestling.
Oh
I
wow.
thought inside, I thought Inside Wrestling was the best because they would rank the top 15 contenders,
Okay.
which I thought was great,
That's
and
cool.
also they would there was only $1.75,
Oh nice.
so it was like a dollar and a half less than PWI.
Nice.
So my broke childhood relied on that. So
Nice. Yeah, I remember because he like right after he got to Stampede, he did the thing where you end up getting the championship, and he defeated Makan Singh, who I think
oh wow,
was Booger Bastion.
wow, it all comes back to Booger Bash.
It really does. I think.
I never thought that the world of wrestling had so much relying on the whereabouts of Booger Bastion.
Well, it kind of makes sense. As big as he is, there's an orbit, So
Yeah,
it's
he was, man, he was not in shape.
no, but he was in great ring shape from what everybody
Yeah,
said working with him. So he must have been on the downswing by the time you saw him.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
they gave him a little bit of a push too. Like, they were having him squash people.
Hmm.
Yeah, anytime they bring a real big dude in, I always think Vince is going to do something with this guy.
Yeah, because he's huge. He's big.
Yeah,
You can always, he becomes because like earthquake, you had that happen.
Right.
when he sat on Ultimate Warrior with Dino Bravo challenging him to the push-up competition.
Right.
And then he just beat him.
Sorry.
No worries.
Slight case of the Rona.
I've heard of that. Yeah. I'm glad you're
I've
clear.
heard. I heard it's going around.
Yeah.
That's
Is that a
that's
picture
the.
of JR on your wall?
No, it's not. It's actually Joe Bob Briggs,
Oh, okay.
who used to do
The
at the drive.
TNT. Yeah.
Yeah, at the drive with Joe Bob Briggs,
Oh,
one of
that's
my
funny.
heroes. Got the Beatles over here,
Nice.
Pac-Man.
Nice.
Over there, I have Freddy Krueger and Jason dolls. I also have this. Oh, you're gonna love this. Hold on, I'm gonna try to reach. Oh, I gotta get up and get it. I have to show this off.
Oh yeah, please do. This is a shoot, ladies and gentlemen. This was not a work. What'd you get? We lost your audio when you got up. Oh, there you are.
Okay, so this is Masters of the Universe WWE.
Oh wow. Oh yeah.
It's Macho Man Randy Savage.
That's
my all-time favorite. Highly articulated for power posing. But I'm going to keep this one on the bot.
That'll appreciate in value in a couple of years.
Yeah, for sure.
Good. Yeah.
All right. So Damian, what match are we talking about tonight? What are we doing?
We're gonna do a tag team match. First tag team match we've ever done. This is gonna be the Revival versus American Alpha at NXT Takeover in Dallas. So if you've got your network app up, you want to look at NXT Takeover Dallas. It was April 1st, 2016. If you're looking at it in any other way, then it's just April 1, 2016. Revival versus American Alpha. And this is the first tag team match we're looking at. And I wanted to look at one that's much more recent because we've been bouncing back in time. So I wanted one that was just within the last 4 years. And this is one of the best.
And this is from 2018, yeah?
2016.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as I can tell. Yeah, 2016. So, which brings the question, what was your favorite tag team?
Okay, so that's a difficult question. I was a fan of so many. I love tag team wrestling. I always have.
Yeah.
I would say I'll do generations. So the 80s.
Yeah.
And this might surprise you a little bit, but the 80s, I was a Demolition fan.
They're really high on my list too.
I loved metal. I also loved like their look. I thought it was neat. And people called them a Road Warriors ripoff, but they really weren't. Crush and Axe and Smash, and then later Crush, who they did the whole Freebirds New Day rule. But Axe and Smash were very methodical, and Hawk and Animal were very explosive.
That's a good point.
The way they wrestle wasn't the same, and I understand like the face paint gimmick, but but Hawk and Animal were like jacked to the moon, and these dudes look like your dad out there.
Yeah, they look like bad guys
in bondage outfits. Yeah. Look like your dad in bondage, you know. But there was something they had such a great mystique. I thought they cut underrated promos. So I was really in the 80s a big Demolition fan.
Yeah, I really dug them too. There were a couple of things that stand out to me for Demolition. One, they would do the double arm smash, like the axe handle on people. Two, they had such distinctly different voices, and the really red tongues at the same time. And I think one of my favorite things was they were in the first pay-per-view Royal Rumble, and they drew numbers 1 and 2, and they didn't hesitate to beat the shit out of each other. Like they went right at it.
Which I think is really cool. Kind of added to their mystique.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I like that. Okay, so that's the 80s. What about the 90s?
Now the 90s, also shout out to the British Bulldogs, who I also loved.
Okay.
In the 80s.
Yeah.
The 90s is a little bit more difficult because in the 90s, tag team wrestling was not nearly as in vogue as it once was. But that being said, favorite tag team of the '90s, Harlem Heat.
Good pick.
I was a huge Booker fan, and Stevie Ray did what he had to do. He kind of played like this enforcer role.
Hmm.
Uh, he was definitely the Arn to Booker's Tully,
Yeah.
if we want to make abstract comparisons. But yeah, it was. I loved Harlem Heat. Um, a couple underrated ones from the '80s and '90s. Power and Glory, which was Hercules and Paul Roma,
I couldn't stand
and it
that.
was. Really, I thought it was the first time they had the. I thought they had the tightest finisher ever, which was Hercules doing the superplex
Hmm.
simultaneously when Paul Roma would do the splash, and the timing on it was impeccable. It was super
That's true.
cool. And then I loved any tag team that Tito Santana was involved in. I
Yes.
love Strike Force. I
Love
love
Strike Force.
and then also like underrated tag team Rick Martel and Tom Zank,
The
the
Can-Am
Can-Am
Connection.
Connection,
Yeah, they were rad. They were my
which
first high flyers that I liked.
was totally underrated.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were like it seemed like everything they were doing was so different than what everybody else was doing. So I
Yeah.
was super into them. And then you look at like this kind of the modern era. I gotta say like I like the Young Bucks. I really do. Like I think what they're doing is fantastic and. Uh, it's modern era tag teams. I mean, the obvious choice in a New Day because they're obviously so successful.
Yeah.
Um,
And they've been
but
at it so
yeah,
long too. You got the longevity too.
I'm definitely. I liked Eminem because I liked John Morrison. Still do, and I loved Melina. So
Yeah, she was pretty rad.
who's now in NWA?
Oh, no kidding.
Shout out to NWA.
Nice.
What about you?
All right, so predictably, probably my all-time favorite's the Hart Foundation. Like
Yeah,
they had
knew
a
that was coming.
tag team finish, right, with the Heart Attack, which was just badass to watch
Yeah,
because it had a sense of anticipation built
yeah,
in.
and Brett really like getting momentum, bouncing
Yeah,
off both ropes.
and then he would go almost horizontal as he's hitting the guy, and it looked like a
Yeah,
pretty easy move to take. So I
yeah.
really, really, they're hands down my top favorite. But if we're gonna go, if I remove them from the equation, my favorite tag team of the '80s would be the Midnight Rockers.
Oh, okay. Marty
So
Jannetty and Shawn Michaels.
in AWA though, not once they
Okay,
became the Rockers in WWF. I don't think they ever
and
got
they
there.
start putting everybody over on them.
Right, right. I really like the Midnight Rockers because again, I like that tandem moves. I also, it sucks because like at the same, it was such fertile ground in the '80s because at the same time, Arn and Tully. I mean, when they were the Brainbusters, it was I loved when they feuded with the Rockers. Like it was,
Yeah,
it was
absolutely.
amazing. Like the only thing I liked better was when you had the Rockers and the Hart Foundation. Uh,
Yeah.
like it was just such a good match.
Remember when the Rockers went over on the Hart Foundation at a house show and they won the title, and then they acted like it didn't happen.
Because the rope broke.
Yeah,
Yeah,
terrible.
it was, and I remember Bret Hart got interviewed and he said he was so pissed because he just saw the money circling the drain. He's like, we could have had like a 6 month run with them, and instead it was just as Pritchard would say, snake bit.
Yeah,
So, but I loved Arn and Tully for bad guys because Tully could get heat. You and I saw that one match where Tully got just the most insane heat and didn't touch anyone. So I love that.
for sure.
'90s. There weren't really teams in the '90s. I mean,
Right.
you
Yeah,
know,
I mean,
nothing
there was
cohesive
like,
for a long time,
yeah, there's. I'm trying to think, and I guess like Public Enemy,
right? The
uh,
Nasties, which I didn't like at all.
Nasty Boys, and then a bunch of mismatch kind of.
Yeah, I guess I would say for the '90s, I would go with Harlem Heat as well because they
Yeah, they're
really,
badass.
yeah, they had the staying power and they were a cohesive team. I didn't like how the reason I hesitate to pick them is because they didn't have that many tandem moves. I really
Right.
like tandem moves. But in the 2000s, I would say Eddie and Chavo.
Oh yeah,
Oh
that's a
my
great
God,
pick.
they're just and actually so's who is that in our chat? Buddy Dean one agrees. Eddie and Chavo.
What
Uh,
up, buddy?
yeah, or he says early '90s Steiners. So
Oh, dude, that's a good pick. The
yeah,
Steiners were badass.
yeah,
Yeah, I really like the Steiners. And when they split them up, I thought it was questionable, and I understood that they saw dollar signs around Scott, but
yeah.
uh, what happened to Rick after that was just like they did nothing for them.
No,
So
yeah. Well, that's standard WCW though. Like they'll break you up and then they'll only push one guy instead of making the obvious money to make the guy and then have him go off somewhere else. So,
or just have them like Rick Steiner was over enough that they could have just had them feud for
oh yeah,
4 months before having to blow off at a pay per view. But
yeah. No, I think the problem with that was that Steiner was he turned heel right at the time of the NWO, and so he was
yeah,
trying to be part of that, but also trying to stand out from that. And it's like you could have just had him, feuding and having the outsiders just staying on him and going, no man, you've really got him, and just doing that kind of stuff. So
I'm glad you mentioned the Outsiders because I have to do a shout out. I love the Outsiders when they were at their top peak, and I mean, Nash never could really work worth a shit, but they were over like Rover did,
they were
and Scott Hall's super underrated, one of the best sellers in the history of the business, in my opinion.
easily, yeah.
And so yeah, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, the Outsiders, I love them. I'd get pumped when they'd come out.
Yep.
So yeah, I do have to shout out to the Outsiders.
Yep.
What up, boys?
I would agree. Like in terms of getting heat, they were really really good, and they did the standard WCW thing of like being the bad guys on top. But I think that they didn't let anyone beat them for any long period of time, so you never felt that there was any
Right.
jeopardy. Like they kind of, I think, killed tag team wrestling, or they were on top when tag team wrestling died in the '90s. One of the two. So yeah, so I guess yeah, I guess we should probably take a look at the match. Oh, before we do though, how can people pay us for what they're seeing?
Okay, so if you dig what you see and you want to tip, pay a cover, you can call it what you want, blood money. Send it to at Johnny Taylor on Venmo. Damian and I'll split it from there, but
Yep.
at Johnny Taylor. If you want to do PayPal, Johnny Taylor at about.me. Once again, Venmo at Johnny Taylor, PayPal, Johnny Taylor at about.me.
There you go.
Thanks.
So, all right, like I said, it's going to be Revival versus American Alpha versus, well, no, just those two. Sorry. At NXT Takeover Dallas, April 1st, 2016.
Okay,
So,
let me make sure I got the right one
yeah.
here.
So I've got it queued up at the very, very beginning. And underneath that, it has a jump to option. So I'm going to push the jump to. And
It's April 1, you said?
Yes, sir.
April 1, 2016. I have to watch it on my phone as to not hog up the internet.
Oh, yeah. So we'll see if I
These Zoom shows. Good Lord. Okay. Why am I having such a hard time finding this?
Is there a thing where you can navigate by the year? Like you go to NXT and then navigate by the year?
Yeah, I think I'm just. I have found it.
Good.
All right. So what is your time code?
So I'm at. So what I did was I went to the jump to option,
Okay.
and it just paused right there. And so it says I'm at zeros, but let me hit play. Okay, I'm at zeros, so now I'm going jump to. So it's at 2 minutes and 55 seconds.
Okay.
All right. So
Sounds good. So 2 minutes and 55 second on NXT Takeover Dallas from April 1st, 2016.
we'll give
American
everybody else.
Alpha Revival.
Yeah, we'll give everybody else a chance to catch up. I'll tell you a little bit about the history of the match. This is actually a very short part because this is the first time these teams met. So a little bit of each of them before this match, though. Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson, that's the Revival. They used to be called the Mechanics, which they're total fanboys of Arn and Tully, obviously.
Yeah, makes sense.
Then they got called Dash and Dawson, which is
I
kind of
remember.
interesting. You had a first name and a last name, which reminded me of Cheech and Chong immediately.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
I always think Revival, they always remind me of Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, well, that or Penn and Teller. One of the two.
Right. Abbott and Costello.
Yeah. No, those were both last names, though, Johnny.
Oh, sorry.
But
Sorry.
eventually, after Dash and Dawson win the first NXT Tag Team title, they become called the Revival.
Great name. Good test. Solid tag team name.
Exactly, and a callback to what they're doing.
Right.
And previously, they had been in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. So this is shortly after Dusty died. But they lost to the eventual champs, Finn and Samoa Joe.
Okay.
And
So I forgot they were even a tag team.
yeah, well, and that's the thing is that's what tag teams were kind of used as a prop to further deepen a feud, because the feud between Finn Balor and Samoa Joe was amazing in NXT. NXT, the mid 2010s, is just some hot,
Really
hot
good.
wrestling. Yeah.
Right now, it's hot fucking garbage.
Yeah, and it's part of it's because everybody's using it as now a funnel to go on up.
Right.
Whereas before it was, no, you have to prove yourself here, and they really made something of it. So they lost to those guys, but really it's their 2015 and 2016 that's their biggest year for them. So in November of 2015, November 11th, they beat the Vaudevillains. Remember those guys?
Okay, I remember them. Yeah, I liked them. I
Yeah,
thought the old time gimmick they had.
yeah, yeah. But also that gimmick you knew wasn't going to go far.
Right.
That's just
And it did.
yeah. And then
I
they
think
put them.
Gotch was out of there
What's
really
that?
quick.
Say again.
I think Gotch ended up leaving like very quickly after they were even formed. So
Yeah, yeah. And Aiden English stayed and paired with Rusev for a bit. But yeah, those are two guys that totally needed each other. But so they'd hold the title for 142 days, which is really long for a tag team to
it
hold the
is,
title.
especially a modern any title modern era.
Yeah, I mean, I can only think of Paul London and Brian Kendrick, or was it Paul London and Billy
Okay.
Kidman that held the title
Might,
for
might have
longer
been
than?
Spanky and Paul London. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, American Alpha, that's Chad Gable and Jason Jordan, and if you blended Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas with the Steiners, that's the team that American Alpha is.
Right.
Like they take the Steiners singlets style, but they absolutely do the athleticism of Shelton and Charlie, which, by the way, a super underrated tag team as well.
I agree. Yeah, two good runs.
Yeah, they did. And they called themselves the world's greatest tag team, which is like Faith No More calling, this year's best album.
Right.
So,
I think that's hilarious. Give me 1 second. Keep going. I just my cat's being a bat.
Yeah.
I'm back. Jesus Christ.
What happened?
I just bought a fan. It's starting to get hot,
Mm-hmm.
and the box that had the fan in it fell over, and my cat's just scratching it just to be an asshole. Okay, we're back.
My dog's just sleeping with his tongue out at me. So that's what happens
That's all.
when a
That's
dog
all.
loses his
That's
teeth.
all that dog sleeps.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's getting old too. He's 13 years old.
Damn.
Yeah. So
That's like 100 in man years.
Yeah. I'm curious as to whether or not he'll make it through the year. Quite honestly. So.
Oh man, way to get dark. Okay, go.
So.
Jeez.
Next week we'll talk about that one match with Mike DiBiase in the ring. Now,
Right.
so the American Alpha, Chad Gable and Jason Jordan, they started as a heel team first,
Right.
because they're so pretty and so athletic, and Chad Gable absolutely looks the part of a heel.
Right.
But they kept fighting from underneath on bigger teams, and their intensity and their athleticism really won the fans over quickly, despite every effort they made to become heels. So
Right.
in NXT at that time, people actually paid attention, and they switched them to being faces. And they got to just have this monstrous run. And they started as Jordan and Gable, so going by last names only. But eventually they took the name American Alpha when they won a fatal four-way match in December of 2015.
Okay.
And then on March 16th of 2016, they won a match against the Vaudevillains, which made them the number one contenders for the Dallas match.
Okay.
So there's not that much build-up. There's not much that much of a feud.
They don't. It's not like a blood feud.
Right. But it's the first time these two teams have met. But what you're going to see here is there's a huge um, clash of styles where you have two, and they're styles that work really well together because they've just got an amazing chemistry between the four of them. So I want people to look out for the chemistry between them because it's just a tremendous match. But again, I want to point out this is the first time they meet, and then they go on to feud for a little while, and then
Right.
after the match, we'll talk about what happened to them since. But
Okay, cool.
yeah, so
Sounds good. I'm
I'm
excited. I've
I'm
never
geared up.
seen this match.
Oh, you haven't?
I've never watched it,
Oh, you're gonna
so
love this shit. This is
this will be the
awesome.
first time.
Yeah. All right. So we're at two
So when are we
minutes
going to press play?
and 55 seconds. Are we ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
So
I'm gonna
do a
say
countdown.
1, 2, 3.
On on three or on go?
On go. On go. So 1, 2, 3, go. So, and if you look at that intro, the intro graphic even, and the way they come out, it looks like they are trying to be Kurt Angle heels, like from early on.
For sure, definitely.
So,
They're hyped.
yep.
Yeah, boy, do you're really right about Gable, man. That guy looks like a heel from the get go.
Yeah, a pretty heel, but a heel. Like he's just,
Yeah.
yeah, he's
So the
got the
look on
Shawn
his
Michaels
face.
scowl, you know.
Yeah.
And
So they're baby faces at this point.
oh, hugely,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And they've got like these
Okay.
track suits on, and what is that, like an '80s throwback tracksuit? I mean,
Yeah,
it's yeah.
completely.
And
Yeah,
then
this is like an '80s match.
yeah, yeah. And then there's your announcers.
Got Corey Graves and that other guy.
Yeah, Tom Phillips. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, Corey Graves, who was a tag team wrestler as well until he got his concussion.
I really liked Corey Graves. I thought he was a hell of a worker,
Yeah.
and he had a good gimmick, great look. That's
Yep.
probably why he's still working. So.
Oh yeah, his good voice, good. Which I was shocked when he was on because he's got all the neck tats and stuff, but they went for it.
Yeah.
And then here
He's
comes
got
the
a real
revival.
decent promos by him
Yeah.
too.
Oh, and a thing that unfortunately we've got it on silent so that we don't get sued. But you got to go back and listen to the revival's intro music when you get a chance.
Okay.
It's just an old timey. And look at these guys; they come down in the jackets.
Yeah.
You know, it seriously is an '80s match. Like these guys are both kind of calling back to the '80s and early '90s. And god dang, look at that dude's thighs.
They have something going
Yep.
with this tag team division in NXT.
They really did. God, those are tree trunks for thighs. And look at that, coming in the same way.
Oh yeah.
And I love what's on their shirt too. It says "No flips, just fists."
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah.
That's cool. So these guys who I got familiar with as they made a little bit of a run in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Like, it seems like the WWE has a hard time kind of transitioning people from NXT to WWE and like keeping that magic that that they had at NXT.
Yeah, I think some of it is that these guys, because of how small Full Sail is, and look at that, you got the matching trunks on both sides, the complementary like mirror image matching trunks. I mean, these guys put some thought into their trunks, you know, and they look. I mean, you've got I think that's Dawson in there, right? With Gable.
Sorry, you're cutting out.
That's Dawson in there with Gable, right?
Yes.
Yeah. If you get a chance to see his trunks on his over his left hip, it's his initials, just like Arn and Tully used to have.
Okay.
So
nice. So they're definitely probably like horseman marks.
Oh, huge. And look at it. The time that they're taking in the corner right there.
Yeah.
Like I bested you, I put you in the corner, and then just
real old school stuff here.
Yep. And then selling it on his friend. I mean, just making fun of him. I mean, just nasty heels. I want to, I think nasty heels is a good way to put it. But I think
really
being at Full Sail made people cult icons, and I don't know that translates to bigger arenas. But also, anytime you get over to WWE main roster, it seems like you had this issue of it seemed like all the writers want to put their stamp on it. So,
right.
There you go. Nice little chain wrestling there. Headlock takedown. Head scissors again. Oh. and just I love that he
Quick cover, yeah.
swiped his feet and missed, and then and still went around for him. And now he's having some doubts. So
Begging off a little bit.
mm-hmm,
Old school heel move.
mm-hmm. I also like
So
that Dawson and Gable's bodies are just a little pudgy.
right, yeah, they look like they look old school, you know. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, isn't that good?
Turnabout's fair play.
Yep.
Right, we got a little melee here.
Yep. Everybody in there. The ref keeping control, but it's barely contained.
What do you think of what do you think of this idea that if you're short,
Mm-hmm.
it's harder for you to get over in the WWE? And do you think that affected the fact that the revival is just kind of small?
They are, but like I would put them at 6 foot. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I would be interested to
Yeah.
maybe one of the viewers can Google that for
Yeah.
us.
Feel free to put that
How
in the chat.
tall
We'll
is
keep an eye on it. So here they got dueling arm bars, snapmare takeover. Dawson knocks him down with a shoulder tackle. And another one. So third thing's coming.
right?
Leapfrog. Went for the hip toss and got reversed.
Yeah, nice little two-armed hip toss
Mm-hmm.
by Dawson.
Went in, got the kick, and he got himself arm dragged rather. Head scissors into the other corner. Ooh. Nice little move there. Make him jump over the guy and catch a drop kick. And now Jordan's in, and Jordan is hyped.
That drop kick was next level.
Yeah, it was. And it looked like he could have gone a lot higher.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Jordan hops.
Yep. Interesting that you can do a tag there. Oh, look, the ref is actually not calling it and not letting him do it.
Yeah, that did seem illegal.
Yep. But it gave Dawson a chance to rake the eyes, and now he's knocking down Jordan. And now he goes for the tag in front of the ref, so the ref could legitimize it. Tag team.
Is that Mike Chioda refereeing?
No. I don't know who's refereeing, but I know it's not Mike. Oh, tandem move.
Okay, here we go.
There we go.
Little double back body drop there.
Ooh, almost went for your favorite move, the abdominal stretch, but turned it into a pinning combination.
One. If only he could get his leg behind him.
So, and if you take a look now, what a great move!
Oh, that's really good.
Oh man, just so flipped him over, kept the arm twist, and what you're seeing here is that American Alpha is actually out revivaling Revival, because Revival is famous for being able to cut off a ring, and American Alpha is actually playing their game.
Yeah. So, do you think they're calling this one on the fly?
I think that a lot of the tandem spots they actually set up ahead of time. Like, let's make sure we're in position to do those.
Right.
But I'm not seeing that much evidence of calling. So, and that's the thing. I think that's probably true more often than not now. Even in good matches like this, that they don't call them in the ring.
Right. Savage. I don't know if you ever heard Randy Savage would methodically plan out every match, like every spot.
Yeah, Ricky Steamboat had to go down to Savage's house in Florida where he had his own ring, and they went over the match dozens of times.
Well, it definitely paid off because that's an amazing match.
Yeah. Oh, old school. Second.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, body press.
Leaping Lanny Poffo.
Yep.
Action there.
Went for the elbow and got a drag twist.
Nice little twisting arm drag.
Yep.
Don't know if you're familiar with Darby Herms from AEW, but
I'm not.
Oh man, that guy has this leaping dragon screw arm drag that's like incredible.
Love that move.
Oh, look at that.
Yep. And then so they went for a double suplex, and then they got.
Here we go. Oh, I like that.
Yeah. All right. So what happened there was you had a double suplex, but Jordan actually caught Gable so that he didn't get suplex. Set him down. They both drop kicked Revival, and then they went around Revival and did belly to back German suplexes.
Yeah, great spot there where both the members of the Revival were facing each other.
Yeah, and reaching out to each other. And
yeah. trying to save it.
Yeah. Now American Alpha goes to brawl on the outside, and everything is still very synchronous. So this is telling me that they plan these things out in the
Yeah,
back.
this is good.
And
Good
then,
sell there.
yep, good noggin knocker.
Double noggin knocker.
Yep.
Old school. Gorilla Monsoon. Shout
Oh,
out.
look at that blind tag. Went
Oh,
for an
nice blind
atomic drop.
tag. He has no idea he's the legal guy.
Yep. And it didn't matter. Still knocked him down. So this is American Alpha is getting their shine. And chasing
That's
that guy
just
around the ring.
a monster clothesline there.
Yep. Dash Wilder just nailed him.
Yeah. That might be why we don't see Chad Gable anymore.
Now, what I like here is that you saw Jason Jordan over there in the corner checking on his friend. Like,
Right.
one of the best things about this match, first off, you got a lot of quick tags, and the second thing I like is that you see the guys, and this is a thing that's lost in tag team matches. You see the guys in the corner selling and building heat when they're not in the ring. They are reacting. Like,
Right.
Jordan is trying to get in but stopping himself.
Right, for sure. On that monster lariat, not only did it look super stiff, but it also like amazing camera angle.
Yes. And Buddy Dean points out that both guys are 6 feet tall, but the problem is that Vince is a self-professed hater of tag team wrestling.
Right.
I've got a thought on that actually. And here we got a little bit of rest hold way to get the.
It's like a little modified $1 million dream there.
Yeah, a bit of a Cobra clutch, but notice he's grabbing his hair. What I love here is that Gable's managed to keep his hair out of his face, something that Brett never could do. And he's selling facially to the crowd about the pain that he's in. And so now you can slow it down. You can see, oh man, what's his name? I'm blanking.
That's Gabe.
Yeah, Gable.
And Wilder.
Yeah, Wilder is in the ring. No. Yeah, Wilder's in the ring. No, out on the outside, Dawson is blown up a little bit.
Yeah.
He's breathing hard, and then
good little,
nice
little
short drop.
flat drop kick there.
Yep. But he said that Vince hates tag team wrestling, and Revival are tag team wrestlers, so there's always going to be a ceiling for them, which is true. Like Vince sees tag teams as here's a Gory Guerrero special.
Nice.
Yeah. Which when I saw this, I was like, man, I'm seeing a lot of these, and I was like, oh yeah, I just watched a Eddie Guerrero match. So,
oh yeah.
God, look at that.
It's good, great selling.
Yeah,
Gable's a hell of a worker.
He is. And look at that, just
Oh, look at that. He muscled out of it.
And then sunset.
Oh, and then right into a sunset flip.
Yep. And then crawling between the legs. I love that move right there.
Yeah.
Where, Gable absolutely, slid around and cut off the ring from him. And
nice little double DDT there.
Yep. Turned into a double DDT, but I love just that little thing about how, we're going to keep you from getting to your partner.
Right.
And just build the drama, and also Jason slid under
the ring.
Yeah.
Oh,
prevented the tap.
Look at that. What a great spot.
And now Jason's getting in and he's pissed and he can't do anything about it because this is how it works. And look at this, kind of a blown spot.
Yeah, that looks very botchy.
Yeah. And the audience is starting to shout, "You screwed up! You screwed up!"
Oh, okay.
And what's fun is you see them actually. That's right now. He's waiting until they die down with it. Like
right.
He's playing them a little bit, playing the audience to get them back on booing them for the right reasons, not for the wrong reasons. So making the action in the ring. So I have a thought about tag team wrestling and why Vince doesn't like it. This match costs twice as much as a match with just 2 guys in it.
Right. And you don't think they're splitting some of that cheddar? They might be.
Well, if you and I were on a tag team, we'd still want to feed our families and stuff like that. So I just think about the Arn and Tully money problems that they had, where they were making $250 a year, and so was JJ Dillon. And one of the reasons they left was because JJ was getting $250 a year as well. And they're like, he just stands out there. But
Right.
what occurred to me was that those three guys represented a $750,000. Oh, finally with the hot tag, couldn't cut the ring off in time. Jordan
And
getting
Jordan's
his.
House of Fire.
Yep, coming in. Look at that. Just
Oh my goodness.
Yep. And then look
Flatline.
at this. What kind of suplex is that?
Oh man.
Yeah.
The elevation.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, he's in full monster
Yeah.
mode here.
And then I thought he was going for a stinger splash. What I love there is that Dawson got out of the way, but
Right.
his partner didn't.
Great suplexes that each time getting a perfectly flat back bump.
Yep.
So you're not hurting the guy, even though it looks
And
spectacular.
look at Jordan's body. I mean, he is just.
Oh, he's chiseled.
Yeah. Cut out of wood.
Yeah, he looks like he's might be getting help. That's
Could be on the gas.
very, very ripped.
Yeah. So I love when guys go up for a move and they actually get thwarted. And what was great there was that what's his face? God, look at
So
this.
this is wow.
Yeah.
Old school heel stuff.
Yeah. So what
Yeah,
we
just
saw
stuff you don't get.
was Gable. No, not Gable. Jordan going for a superplex. But Dawson slapping him down, and then he goes up for it again. But this time, Dash comes over and pins Dawson's leg down so that he's got more leverage. And then when he finally goes for a pinning combination, Dash comes over with the towel and holds his legs down even further. Still doesn't quite.
He tried to do a rope assisted suplex. Oh, huge European uppercut.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
From outside.
Oh, last minute save, real close to count.
Yep. And then throwing Gable back out.
Oh,
yeah.
Not a good landing there.
Good double team action going on here. Going for the double. And he actually, look at that. He goes for the sunset flip. Doesn't get it because they're holding.
Beautiful.
And then Gable comes in, knocks his man out, and gets the sunset flip and almost gets a pin.
And this crowd is just...
They're on their feet. This is a preliminary match, by the way. This is the first match.
Yeah, this is the curtain jerker.
This is everything a curtain jerker match should be.
Yeah, the crowd's hot as fuck.
Yeah, this is why if I'm ever booking a show and you're not the headliner but you're on the show, I put you first.
Yeah. That's I always say it's the curse of being funny.
Yeah,
is because you want the show to start off hot. So
yeah. You put Owen Hart in the first match,
Right.
Got a lot of work over there in the corner, and victory roll.
Oh yeah, but reversed.
Yep. And Dawson's getting pinned. Oh, kicks out.
Dawson, what a great heel.
Yep. Small package. And now we're going to a lot of false finishes. Which the only downside to that is we know that they're always false finishes. I would love to see. God, look at that. I don't even know what that's called, but it's like a reverse victory roll. And now we're going to see a bridge up.
Nice to wait till the very last second there on the bridge.
And now you got the fight over the backslide.
Who's stronger?
Mm-hmm.
There we go. They cut out of it.
Yep. You got a blind tag there. And the ref, I love the ref is pointing to the guy that got tagged.
It should be noted this. Huge spear in the corner.
Spear. And now lifts him into a suplex.
Oh.
And it's over.
Wow. So it should be noted that the pace of that match was absolutely frenetic.
Oh, yeah.
Like, literally from after they got kind of the chain wrestling out of the way, there was at one point, there was that modified Cobra Clutch. It was kind of a rest hold, but they just went like probably 15 minutes.
Yeah. This is an 18-minute match from bell to bell, like from the inside.
Okay.
And then these guys won, and this is their first championship. And look at how emotional they are. They're selling the victory.
Yeah, that's great. Looks like it means something.
Yeah, and they're a legit team together. And the guys leaving are also a legit team together. Like,
right.
There's so much touch between them, so much camaraderie. And then here we get some of the replays. So Dash climbing out from under the ring.
So funny.
Jason Jordan out. Such a great heel spot.
Yeah, there were several spots where you're like, like you don't see that in modern wrestling.
Right.
So,
which is funny because you see so much stuff in modern wrestling that you wouldn't have seen before. But like these things are, high impact, good coordination, and then, and that's not that much of a tag team move, but it works, and it's a tag team enough move.
Right, right.
Yeah, and now they're champions, and it's just
Yeah, I think it's great that they didn't get the save on it. I think that was a good time to end the match,
yeah, because
especially since they're probably getting gassed hard.
oh yeah, and these guys are hugging it up after, and they're allowed to stay in the ring. And then I love that Gable shouts "Thank you," and everybody goes apeshit for it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah,
Cool moment.
yeah. So this was their first match. Oh, there's Jim Ross and his wife. Nope, that's not his wife. This is Michelle Beadle.
I was like, I do think his wife passed away.
I don't think by
Fairly.
that point, but yeah, yeah. I think she died a couple years back, but yeah. There's Kota
That's too bad.
Ibushi, who actually ended up having. He was part of the cruiserweight matches, and we should definitely look at some of those.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's so much to dig into from there.
So that's the match. Now after the fact, both teams ended up having a lot of troubles. WWE separated Gable and Jordan less than a year after they both got pulled up to the main roster.
Okay.
Which they got hot as a tag team, and there was not
Right.
any real they had Jason Jordan become the kayfabe son of Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
And then they also had him feuding a little bit with Elias, but it didn't really get much heat. So where are they now? Here's some fun stuff. The Revival was recently released. Now they're calling themselves the Revolt, or Fear the Revolt, FTR. Oh, there you are. Gable is now known as Shorty G.
Okay.
So you can imagine how well that's going. Jordan actually suffered a career-threatening neck injury in 2018, and now he's a producer.
Okay. That's too bad. That guy? What a huge ceiling on him.
Yeah, both teams were amazing teams that you could have built an entire tag team division around.
Right.
They could have been the next. They could have taken the ball from New Day and kept it going.
Right.
And given New Day the chance to spread out. But instead, they got pulled apart pretty quickly. It just.
Yeah, that's too bad. And again, it's just the WWE, the tag team fuckery that they just. It's so sad too because some of my fondest memories growing up as a wrestling fan were the tag teams in the '80s, the Bulldogs and the Dream Team with Beefcake and Valentine.
I love them, yeah.
The Hart Foundation and even like the Bushwhackers for some comic relief, and the Nasty Boys and
Orient Express.
Orient Express, Can-Am Connection, Strike Force. They had so many great tag teams from that era. The Killer Bees.
The Killer Bees. Oh my God, they were so fun.
One of the most fun tag teams to watch ever.
Yeah. If you remember, Mike Rotunda and Barry Windham actually had.
Oh yeah, the U.S. Express.
Which Hulk Hogan's music was written originally for them.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but then he took it.
Real American?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, Blacklight just let us know that Jason Jordan was on his way to the moon. I completely agree.
It was for real though.
Yeah. Injuries are one thing, but the thing is the WWE already broke them up. So, if he'd gotten injured and that stopped it, that would be a sad tragedy. But this is just horrible mismanagement, I think.
That said, I mean, Jordan. You look at Jordan. This is the guy that, who knows what his limit is as a single star.
Oh, yeah.
So I do see Vince's point to a degree where it's like you got this one guy who's big, looks amazing, super athletic, likable. Just could be a monster baby face. He's probably thinking he's got the second coming of The Rock here,
Probably. But you know what? It took how long until Brett started getting singles success? It took how long until
early 90s,
started getting singles success?
Mid-90s.
Let them percolate for several years as tag teams, because then they're not taking as many bumps. Right. They're learning more about psychology. Put them against veterans. Keep them as a tag team, and then eventually have an issue spring up between them, so that when you split them up, you can Sean and Marty them. You know,
Right.
you can do that, but he didn't do that, and I totally get it. But I'm also thinking like, okay, in 2016, they get drafted. By 2017, it's not like they're not top heavy at the WWE. They are.
Right.
Their mid to upper card is filled with all the stars from TNA.
Right.
Like it's quite something that way. So like there's no shortage of people who can work against each other and stuff like that.
Right.
So might as well build a tag team division, because then when those people do time out, then you've got these guys that were grown in the tag team division, which is kind of how it used to be. So
Yeah, I think sometimes Vince gets a little impatient where he's like, he sees money
right,
and he's like, let's do it now. So
yeah,
I agree though. American Alpha was a great tag team, even though the run much shorter
yeah,
than it should have been. And then the Revival, who of course have just recently been released,
hmm
would not be surprised at all to see them feuding with the Young Bucks over on AEW as soon as this quarantine ends.
absolutely. That seems to be the most logical thing, or have them go over and join Bullet Club in Japan or something. You know,
Yeah, I really hope they pop up in AEW,
yeah,
which is at this point a far superior product to the WWE. So
yeah. Now I will say this: I know that I think it was Dash. He got injured also once they got drafted, and that has been happening a lot. People get drafted up and then they get massively injured. Finn Balor went out for almost a year, partly because he was wrestling Seth
I
Rollins, and
remember
that happens. Um,
the
but
night after he won the title.
yeah,
So
he had to give it up. So you do have some of that going on, but still, like there's so many things they could have done. Oh, Buddy Dean says they're already being teased by the Elite on AEW.
okay, beautiful.
That's
It's good
cool.
news.
Yeah. So I think it's a natural fit over there, and there's plenty of people for them to work against.
Oh man, their roster is
It's
pure
stacked.
gold in my
Yeah.
opinion.
So what would you rate this match?
Oh, I think it's nearly flawless. I would give it a 4.5 star match. I think the only reason I wouldn't give it a 5 is that there wasn't like this blood feud to it where you didn't have a bunch of lead up. So it's great that they won the titles, but it's not like they had been at each other's throats for several months. So,
Right.
but from a technical standpoint, aside from that one botch, I thought it was really excellent done. Great psychology.
Yep.
Super old school, athletic. Moves looked real. It looked very. It was very believable.
Yeah.
It looked stiff but not dangerous.
hmm
So yeah, all the good things.
Yeah. I'd give it 4.25. I think the botches kind of pulled it down a little. I loved that I didn't see anybody talking to each other from opposite
Right.
teams.
Yeah.
I
Looked like a fight for the
Yeah,
most part.
I loved that I saw the guy on the corner getting the shine as best he could for his teammate.
Right. Super
And
cool.
I loved that they didn't go outside of the ring that often, and when they did, it meant something. And then they immediately got
Yeah.
back in the ring, because that's where you're going to win it, is in the ring.
Yeah. A lot of really fun spots too,
Yeah.
where he's going under the ring
Yep.
and yeah, the slapping
hmm
thing,
Oh yeah, yeah.
comedic.
With the quid pro quo slapping. I also
Yeah.
really loved him just using that towel for um, uh, leverage to help keep his friend's legs down,
Oh
so
yeah,
that
that's
that
another.
pin works.
Yeah, a
So
lot of great like little nuanced things that make a match really great, and I think you just don't see it as much as you could.
yeah, and my favorite spot of the whole thing was that tiny little moment where he slid around and cut off the ring. Um,
Yeah, really good.
and then it turned into a double DDT. I thought that's what brought it over 4 stars for me.
Yeah, yeah, really
So
good spot. There were several spots just
mhm.
thinking back that were a number one.
Yeah, I think if they'd have 5 more minutes, it would have pushed it up closer to 5 stars for me.
Right. Yeah.
Honestly,
It did lack. It didn't feel epic. It didn't feel
right?
important, but it was super fun.
Yeah, yeah. Their follow up match, the rubber match, was almost one that I had us watch, but there was just so much to this one, and the fact that it was the first time, and look at how well they all worked together.
Yeah, they obviously have great chemistry.
Yeah,
So Yeah,
So,
talk about like something that could have really stretched out for 6 months.
and if you draft them both to WWE's main roster, you could even put them on separate brands for a year
Uh-huh.
and then have them just paralleling each other and then have a huge blow off at Mania.
Yeah,
You know?
imagine just taking those two teams and building the living shit out of it,
Yeah.
and then having them a blow off at Mania or a
Yeah.
blow off at SummerSlam or something.
Have Dawson and or have the Revival blow through Cesaro and Sheamus.
Right,
And then you can split up Cesaro and Sheamus. But like have them do that and like that immediately establishes their legitimacy and have it be through the fact that they work so well together. Like have
right,
them be the San Antonio Spurs of tag team wrestling.
right.
You know,
Also, shout out to Cesaro and Tyson Kidd, another super underrated tag team.
very
Uh,
underrated.
yeah, terrible that Tyson Kidd got hurt because who knows how successful that tag team could have been.
No kidding. No kidding.
Really
So,
good. They
all
need
right.
to fucking do something with Cesaro.
Yeah, that would be nice. He can do everything.
Oh, he's one of my favorites.
Yeah, he's
Absolute gem.
anywhere else he would be a marquee player, but here he's just
Oh,
languishing.
get him over to AEW and
Oh
put
yeah,
the fucking strap on him
yeah.
and see what he can do.
Oh, it would be amazing. He doesn't have to be that guy that talks much.
Right,
He can just be like get it done in the ring kind of guy. I mean, make him a stripped down gimmick of like no talk, just talent. Something like
right.
that. It'd be amazing. So, all right.
Cool.
So, where can people give us money if they want to give us money for this?
Oh yeah, we again. If you liked what you saw and you want to throw some shekels our way, you could do it at Venmo. It's at Johnny Taylor, or you could do PayPal if you prefer that. Johnny Taylor at about.me. Once again on Venmo, that's at Johnny Taylor, and on PayPal, Johnny Taylor at about.me. And yeah, anything helps, keeps us going. And
Do us a
this is a
favor and
fun match.
hit that subscribe button on Twitch. Make us Appointment TV on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube.
Yeah,
But do what you can to come back and bring your friends. You have WrestleHead friends. Get them out here to watch this and watch this with us. Most wrestling fans are
yep,
going to have access to the network anyway, and we
yep.
can all watch
This
it.
will evolve.
Yeah. So
Cool.
cool, man.
All right. Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
Thanks
So
everybody for joining us.
absolutely. Till next time. We'll see you guys at Call In the Ring.
Peace.